Hello, everybody. Catherine Perry here, Big Vision Mastermind, brought to you by ICPotentials.com. Welcome to Module 5, Exercise number 2, the Point of Light exercise. I'm Catherine Perry, and I have got on the call with me Mukesh Sharma. How are you doing, Mukesh?
Great, Catherine. Thank you very much. And I'm really happy that we are doing this second meditation on this module 5. Thank you.
Thank you. This is probably one of my favorite exercises that I take people through in really helping them expand their thinking. Right now, as you are going through life, you're operating at a particular vibration. There is a thought field around you, and the thoughts that you have are actually rising up. There's this emotion inside of you, and it's rising up from your neurology, and you'll notice that there's certain thoughts that you have. And if you were to track your thoughts throughout a day and write down every single one, you would find that you actually have what's called a narrow sphere of influence. And if you're kind of left alone, only thinking your own thoughts, you will tend to start cycling really less than in about 7 minutes. And some people that loop is much shorter. Now, what changes that thought is influences from our outer world. We will have an outer experience. And so there's something in our environment that catches our attention. It may break the cycle, and then that directs us to another level of thoughts. Now, the reason I'm going into all this about thoughts is right now you have a thought about who you are, about what your potential is, about about the meaning of your experiences, about what is available to you, what levels of support are available to you, and you're having this thought about something that you want to create in the future. But when we go into it through our ordinary way of thinking, the way we are taught to think is trained into us. And in fact, that training, I don't know if you know this, Mukesh, the way of thinking actually of our first training starts when we're very small with our mothers and they're asking us questions when a child is playing games. Do you see the block? Where does the block go? How many ways can you turn the block around? And if someone's fortunate to have a parent that's engaged, asking questions a new way, and is invested in the way a child thinks and teaching them different ways of thinking, then that child's going to have a bigger way of thinking about the world and about themselves. But what comes into place is a structure of logic. Does that make sense? So it becomes the way that everyone thinks about everything, and we could call that a filter of reality. And when we look out into the world, what we are seeing is our brain either says it matches or does not match what that structure is. If it doesn't match, it will be invisible to us, but it does not necessarily mean it's not there. So an example of that, and I wish I had had a picture of this, but we've seen there's this famous experiment, Mukesh, and you've heard of it too, where someone literally put dollar bills into a tree and they filmed people walking by the Dollar Tree. And it says, hey, free money, take one. And there are so many people that walk by the tree and never even notice anything different about that tree, because how many times were we taught money doesn't grow on trees, right? And if you see money, don't take it if it's not yours, and all those rules start applying. So they were shocked at how few people actually saw the tree. Then the people who did see the tree, very few took the money. And when I watched this video, and I'll put it on the Big Vision Mastermind Facebook fan page, you're going to notice as you watch this video, you're going to have your own reaction to the people's reactions. So one of the people in the video that kind of tripped my reaction was a girl that once she saw it, she said, "Oh, free money." And she took $1 and then she started grabbing all the dollars that were within reach and then left. Like she left with like $10, $12. And I was like, oh, that's not right. She can't do that. She should just take one and leave something for everyone else. Right? Well, where would I have gotten that rule? That sounds like the rule at the family dinner table. Mukesh, did you have that rule at your table? Take one and pass it around?
That is true. That is true. All these
Right.
rules are coming from the family members. And
Right.
actually, in Toronto, they did this exercise outside of the subway stations. And
Mm-hmm.
where the person, like they did actually one time with a male, one time with a female. So when the person was holding like a $50 bill or $100 bill and giving it to people, so now when even the male is passing by, he's looking very strange eyes with this person, you know,
Yeah.
and thinking that he has a selfish motive, and particularly the females, they right away thought that there's a selfish motive. He's offering $100, and
Yeah.
same thing with they did the exercise with the female as well, and
Mm-hmm.
female to female and female to male. But the thing was that the people were not accepting the free money because it's in the built in the culture. There's no such thing as free lunch, and
Right.
there's no such thing as free money.
Yeah. So that emotion that rose up, like suspicion, like what's going on here, there's always a catch, that rule.
Yeah.
That's the positive intention is to keep you safe. So when I watched this video and I saw the girl,
Yeah.
I was really intrigued going, wow, I have a rule that I'm only allowed to have so much when the instructions clearly said free money, you know. And I don't know if it said take only one, but it said take one, but it didn't say take only one. So she really didn't violate a rule. And so here are my rules I'm trying to impress upon a stranger in a video, right, who doesn't know me. and it's like, so why is it? So here I'm having this, and this is what I'm talking about. We have our vibration, we have our thoughts, we have our feelings, and some of that is positive programming, some of it's negative programming. Well, in our last exercise and in your handout, I have you going through an exercise that's really looking at what are some positive experiences you had, what are some negative experiences you had. And everything that you created, positive and negative, doesn't matter what the results were, whatever happened to you, it all, you experienced it through your filter of reality, and whether you assigned it was positive or negative, or your belief about the outcome of that experience is based on your family programming just the same. So here I'm telling this little story about watching people get money, and I'm observing it, and then I'm putting myself in the video and I'm imagining that's happening. And then I'm having this reaction to a girl taking more than quote unquote her share, right? So I am seeing it, I'm connecting back to my own experience, and then I'm imagining myself in the future, right? And then I'm having another thought, thinking about someone else's. So all of that is actually happening all at the same time. And I'm going to be quiet for a second to let that set in, because Mukesh has to remind me to give you a second here. So think about that. Each of those thoughts, whether I'm observing my regular reality, whether I'm about my own, and then if I'm observing a memory of my life, if I'm observing someone else, in, let's say in a movie, and then I'm imagining what their rules might be, and then maybe I'm thinking about putting myself in another situation in the future, or maybe I'm imagining how, different family dinners where that rule was reinforced. All of those thoughts, think about those as bubbles of energy. Little bubbles of energy, little points of light. Okay? So hold in your mind. And those are not occurring sequentially. Those are all occurring at the same time. And what we will become aware of, this is kind of advanced teaching, but we have advanced people attracted to this work. But what we are aware of is going to be based on the emotions we are experiencing at the same time and what is happening in our outer reality. So the space between our inner reality and what we see in between is this field of emotion. And then what happens is our unconscious mind fills that gap up with the appropriate memory. Okay? And so that becomes a filter of reality. So hang on just a minute. Here's what I want to do. I want to calibrate something. The purpose of this module was really about helping you identify what your mission and your purpose is. To start to identify that through like things that you experienced. But then, so that we want to say, how can we project into the future who you would be if you knew, how you would know, how you would feel going through the world, because that potential also exists. So what we're doing, though, is saying let's find that open potential of that experience, of that bubble that is a reality that you want to connect to, that is in alignment with who you want to be, what outcomes you want to have in your life, that match your skill set, that contain the elements that you desire. Your hopes, wishes, and desires give you the clues to let you know what is possible. So if you have a desire to live a life that flows, now no one really, I think, expects a perfect life, and I'm always amazed at the people that go, oh, my life is perfect. And you go, really, you've got all this stuff going on? It's like, yeah, but I can handle it. What a perfect time that this would be happening. I have a friend that I got some good news. She's a client of mine, and she had some cancer cells that showed up, and they're telling her she needs a mastectomy, and we were doing some work, and there's some big shifts on that. And so we started working, and then this message started coming out because she started second guessing herself. She's really like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't have taken fertility treatments 10 years ago, or maybe this was caused by drinking sodas, and I didn't used to be a healthy person, and wow, all those years of stress, and maybe I shouldn't have done this, and maybe I shouldn't have done that, and of course that's completely useless way of thinking. That what could she possibly go back and change? And what I told her was like, you're a very thoughtful person. You think about whatever choices are in front of you. You're a planner. And what I've known about you from knowing you for 10 years is that you like to make sure that the health insurance is paid and that there's schedules and everyone is involved, and you try to make the best possible choice. And I said, every choice you've ever made, you've made thoughtfully and to the best of your ability. Would you agree? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, then you're going to have to just trust that that part of you that planned that and did that had the highest and best intention for you. And right now, look at what you're going through, but you have good health insurance, your husband has good health insurance, you've got the help and support of 2 families, you've got good relationships with your neighbors, your children are old enough that they understand and can kind of take care of themselves on some certain levels, you've got a great supportive job. If you had to go through something like this, look at how well you have set things up to take care of yourself and all the people in your life while you were going through this. I think that's amazing. And you really ought to acknowledge the good things that you've created here. that completely shifted her thinking, and she went from a space of blame and shame into gratitude and realigning back to her faith and coming back to the fact that, yeah, she always does things to the best of her ability, and that's the kind of people she surrounds herself with. The good news was that she's not going to have the full mastectomy as she thought. It turned out there was just a few cells. It's not affecting other lymph nodes, and she's going to have to be on hormone therapy. So this was radically different, and we did a lot of belief work over a 2-week period. This is a radically different prognosis and outcome than what she was expecting 2 weeks earlier. Isn't that great news? And she just kept choosing love and acknowledging. So this is what we're going to do. All right, so this is what we're going to be connecting you into, is a greater sense of resource. But first, let's calibrate. And this is the calibration we're working on. When on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your clarity about your purpose or your personal mission? And maybe you are starting to get clearer. Maybe there's things going on where you go, well, yeah, I'm experiencing some success, but it's not the success that I want. So then follow-up questions. If you did know your purpose or mission, how would you know it was clear to you? How would you know? Now, a big one might be peace of mind. It might be, yeah, there's challenges, but you feel confident. One, it could just simply feel right. Some people have a, oh yeah, feeling inside of them. So when something's right and you're doing the right thing, how do you truly know? And if you did know your purpose or mission, what would you be doing differently than what you're doing now? And it's important to keep, as you're doing the process, to keep checking back on these answers, because I'm asking you to think about your feeling state and then what actions you would be taking any different than what you're doing. So there's this exercise I want to take you through, and it's called the Points of Light exercise, and we're going to switch back to camera in just a second. But I want to invite you to first look at this image that I have of all these different colors of balls of light. This is what I'm talking about when I say we have these different thoughts that are occurring at each time. This is really, if we had to say what memories look like or time, this would be more of what it looks like. This is a completely unscientific picture, by the way. But if you notice too, they're kind of clumped together. There's different colors. Some are further away, some are closer. And this is really how it is with our memories and how we kind of group our memories together. And this is also why if you were to start telling a story about a funny thing that happened on a vacation, and you talk to another friend and they tell you their vacation story, and the stories all follow along that same line, right? But then there's always that one person that they'll take one thing you said out of your story and then they go completely like left field. And that's because you tripped one little piece, something you said activated a file in their brain and it took them into another direction. Okay, so this is kind of the imagery of what we're going for. Okay, so I'm going to switch back to the screen. Hey, Mukesh, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Mukesh, is there a way, because I don't know if people can see both. I know I see me in the corner and then I see you, so I'm hoping people can kind of see both of our pictures a little bit while we're doing this exercise. That we're not going to look equal. But
this is now like maybe we have to flip back and forth time to time, but
okay.
This is the best we can do for now.
Okay, so I'm not sure whose image is bigger or your image is bigger, but I would like for your image to be the predominant one. Well, I want it to be to where people predominantly see you. So let's see, because Mukesh and I argue all the time about who's more beautiful, and guys, I think Mukesh is winning. Okay. Okay. I remind everyone we're not a couple. Mukesh is a happily married man living in Toronto, but we have a wonderful rapport. We tease all the time. Said we have to start bringing your wife in the room so she knows that we're not having a mad affair because we enjoy each other so much. Okay, so Mukesh, here's what we're going to do, and we're going to do a little demonstration, and I'm going to do it along with you. What I invite people to do is to close their eyes and just take a couple of deep breaths. And what we're going to be focusing on is our successes and times that we were not successful. Okay? And for this exercise 2, in exercise 1, I had you do an exercise where you listed your positive experiences, your negative experiences. So what we're demonstrating is how I want you to collapse those experiences, okay? Because once you learn this piece and you start applying it, it is amazing. Then your unconscious mind starts taking over. This is probably one of my #1 personal clearing processes I do that has gotten the biggest results in my life. And then bringing that together with the I See Potentials meditation, where we go up and we start speaking it into life and seeing that it's happening and bringing in this bigger space of gratitude, then the manifestation piece starts taking over. So these two, along with the, well, I have to say now, I always do the 4-part statement, but this is a very powerful one, because where we're actually going to be directing you is to connecting to different parts of your own brain structure and how you are holding your thoughts and ideas. Okay, so right now, with your right hand, I want you to think about something that you attempted, right hand, something that you attempted and it failed. And it may help to think about in terms of a business. Maybe you started coaching, maybe you started something, an online project, but something that you started and you failed. And I'm going all the way back to We Welcome. Boy, that whole venture right there. All right. So now we're going to let the left hand find a success. Then it doesn't matter what the success is, something that you attempted and it worked out. Maybe it even worked out a little better than you hoped. And oh boy, I know exactly which one. It's a commanding cash call. There we go. So mine's kind of like up out of the camera a little bit. So right now, if I shift my focus over to the right hand, I think about, oh yeah, my body gets let down feeling, it feels heavy, but then if I shift my attention to the left hand, I notice my energy goes up. Mukesh, what are you noticing when you focus on your right hand?
Well, so amazing that even on my left hand is slightly lower than the right hand is lower than the left hand, because left hand is the success and right hand is the kind of failure mode, I call it. And it's amazing. And even through the video I'm watching you, like it's a similar scenario.
My hands, yeah, they're in different places, right?
That's right.
So we're literally pointing to different parts of our brain. So here's all we're going to do. We're going to hold one thought. I am supported. Okay? Breathe in. I am supported. And now bring your fingers together as quickly as possible and drop. Drop. Ooh. Now, with your right hand, try to find that failure.
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay, but you did have an experience called a business, so now I'm going to look for where, like, if I remember the business I had called We Welcome, which was gift baskets, it's actually kind of moved kind of more behind me here. Okay. And now I'm going to look for my success. So now look for that experience, because it's hadn't gone away forever, but the energy now, if I tune into that energy, it's just kind of like I don't feel anything negative around it. It was like, yeah, something I tried. Yeah, I did it. In fact, I'm kind of proud of all the stuff I learned there. And I think the reason that idea of I am supported in that business in particular, I didn't feel supported at all. Okay? So now I want to find what I considered a success. Wow, and that success actually has shifted position too. So with your left hand, find the success.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now let's just hold the idea. I build on my successes. Bring your hands together quickly.
Yes, I built on my success.
And drop.
You know, it also gives me this understanding of the one statement that failures are not failures, they are feedback. And
Right.
now, like, as I was doing, this is the first time I understood that concept. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean? Because as we were doing the exercise, yes, like we have the failure mode, we have the success mode, but when we did we brought them together and collapsed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like now I see when I went back to search for it, like in my past, like I said, okay, where is that failure mode? And it's like for me that was like a feedback and understanding that this is what I learned from that
Right.
thing.
Yeah, so we got to keep the lesson and release that energy because what we were trying to avoid would be failure. In our unconscious mind,
Yeah.
we wind up setting our unconscious mind on the task of avoiding failure rather than going after success.
Yes.
Or like, let's get feedback, it's measurement. And that's what successful people do. They say, okay, we're creating money as feedback. That's one of the levels, but they create measurements for everything. Okay, so now let's stick with this because it really helps if you stick with one idea for a bit so that you notice. So right now I'm going to go back to that We Welcome experience,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually popped up here. And so then I had this other success, and so what I would like, so right now all of my experiences profit me. How you like that idea just came in. All of my experiences profit me.
All of my experiences profits me. Yeah.
Okay, bring your hands together quickly. Drop. Whew. Whew.
See, this statement itself is just changing the feeling state. All my
Mm-hmm.
experiences profit me, because
Right.
irrespective of what those experiences were, good or bad, but
Mm-hmm.
all the experiences profit me. Yes.
Wonderful. So right now in my life, there is an amount of money that is the most amount of money I've ever earned in a month, and I know exactly what that number is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then I have the number that, that led to the biggest year ever. So I want you to, with your left hand, we're going to do that one first, find the most money you have ever personally made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now find that experience, like mine is We Welcome, so that experience you used to call a failure.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead and find that experience where it is with the right hand one.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is this: I am making more money than I've ever made in my life.
Yes, I'm making much,
More
much
money
more money
than I've ever made in my life.
than I have ever made in my life.
Bring those two together. Drop. I'm glad we're recording this. We do this stuff privately all the time and go, didn't we record that? Whew. And did you notice I actually collapsed? Like All right. So now I'm trying to find We Welcome, right? I'm like,
Mhm.
We welcome. And it's funny, it's right here. And the reason I'm kind of picking that one, that was my first one where I said I had a vision. It was exciting. I saw it, the whole plan laid out, and I sold something like $800 worth of product, and that was it. That was and I worked like all summer. I worked something like 6 months on that. But right now it's like right here. Now I want you to think about the most money you have ever heard of someone making in a day in their own business. So immediately just what pops up, I notice people have made more, but I think about Frank Kern, who had a $2 million launch.
Yeah.
And that happened within 24 hours, some crazy number. So where is that? That's right here. And unconsciously, if you're in business, now we're talking about vision, but I'm teaching you an exercise here, okay? And then you can apply this to everything else. So Frank Kern, and I want to bring this up because we are comparing ourselves all the time negatively to people in the world who are having a certain level of success, and then we measure our success.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So I am now the biggest success that anyone has ever heard of. Now.
Let's say it again. I am now.
Actually, I have a because there was I am making the most money in one day that anyone has ever heard of.
Yeah. Yes, I'm making the most money than
In one
anyone
day
in one day. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
anyone has ever heard of, and this is great.
Yes, this is great.
Together. Because we want to blow this idea piece out, the money piece out. All right. So again, that past business, some people may actually be having trouble. So now it's kind of right here. But now I want to bring it to open potential.
Mm-hmm.
There's everything I wanted that business to do that was not money, right? And I'm finding that with my right hand. I wanted to be able to take care of my family. I wanted to know myself as a success. I wanted to help people be successful, even in that form. And then, when I think about that $2 million or even my best year, I think about all the good that came from that within my own family, the lives of the people that I helped. It was the biggest sphere of influence ever. I got to help more people than ever that year. Made a big difference, helped a lot of people start businesses and achieve success. And now that open potential that's even more good than I could ever even know that could come from something I, help create. So when I say here's my biggest success, I was noticing the feedback that came into me, but now we're reversing it and all the good that came out into the world as a result. And you find all of that good with your left hand. And all the good that came from that experience of what you used to call a failure, and that desire for that good. I am creating waves of prosperity in the world now.
I am creating waves of prosperity in the world now.
And I am creating even more good than I ever thought possible.
And I'm creating even more good than ever I thought possible.
Now. Bring your fingers together. And energetically, I just feel something like this curtain just opened for me. So in the line of questioning, and I'm glad we're recording this, and Mikesh, I'm going to ask you to write down these questions, these statements that I did, so that we can make sure everybody has them. And you can do that afterwards when we've re-listened to the video. Mm-hmm. But what was your experience when we did that even greater good? What happened there?
It's like like I felt. Let me turn on my. So I felt like a free flow. Mm-hmm. Like, this is why I made a few of the comments, like rather than like a failure as a failure versus a feedback. We hear so many times this particular statement, but how to take this as a feedback, how to
Mhm.
really understand it. And also, like, I'm making money from all of my experiences, because
Right.
we are going to have, like, sometimes good or bad experiences. But if we
Mhm.
are like, now it's like it can give me such a good feeling that, like, just to give you an example, like, maybe I took that negative experience and I next time I tweaked it and improved it and went with maybe double the energy than the first time,
Mhm.
and I got much massive result because
Yeah.
I took massive action.
Mhm.
So now I understood it much better. That this
Yeah.
was also, and particularly, like, bringing those, and then, like, and then, collapsing, like, and releasing
Mhm.
that all, like, with a puff of air out.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and I noticed for me in having when I said, okay, a Frank Kern kind of day, he's a big deal internet marketer if you don't know, and he had a famous product launch that within 24 hours he produced $2 million. Well, like intellectually I went there, but I actually had no emotional resonance with that. But I was like, yeah, I'd love to see a big money result come in my business. Where I personally felt the most energy was, hey, here's something I did that created so much good out in the world. In fact, I almost like this flow and my desire, everything in me flowed to that. But now money's not the concern, but as I need money, money's going to support it, right? There's no, I've got to do this to make money or I can do the vision. Right now, if I try to find doing my vision a place where it could possibly exist to do my soul's mission or live my vision and not have the money there, I can't find that reality. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes.
We get in our brain and one part says it's either or and we get split. Well, right now, of course I'm going to be supported. And now I've expanded my sense of what's possible financially, but I took it out of being a consideration.
Yes.
Good, good. So now when I think about creating a success in front, creating a successful business that, there's some elements I liked about even when I was doing the gift basketing business. It was fun doing all the shopping to figure out the stuff, and I got to decorate baskets. But Mukesh, I wish I had some pictures that were scanned in, but there was this thing we did these little teddy bears or these little decoration pieces, and I
Hmm.
did all this little creative work.
Hmm.
And it was the creative part I think I loved the best, and I loved the training the people that were working for me, and I loved meeting the other business people. So now I can think back with joy and pull clues from, hey, what was the pieces I liked about that? What worked for me personally? And then I can say, wow, now I can see where I failed in that and why, because I really didn't get the right partner or the right experience. I was trying to do it all on my own. So now can I open myself up? So there's a belief or there's an idea. So there'd be like, I'm having to do it all by myself, right? Which is a common thing when you work for yourself or you're in business alone, you're in your basement or you're in bedroom and you're doing it and they go, yeah, get an assistant. And you have to go, yeah, I got to get an assistant, but that's like 3 times the work to get an assistant to get everything for an assistant. That initial resistance, right? But all successful people are not really doing all of the work. They're focusing on their genius, right? So if that's a concern that I have to do it all by myself or I can't find the right partner, and then here's how thoughts link, and this is what I'm demonstrating for you. Okay, so here's a reality and the idea that I have to do it all by myself.
Yes.
Why I have that idea, that's a feeling left over from childhood, whatever. I could go into psychoanalysis, but there's that thought, there is that feeling. And then there also exists all the help or support I could ever hope, wish, or desire, and all the money I need to get the right help at the right time in the right way. And I'm going to find them. They're actually not that far. They're right here. I have all the help I need
Yes, I
right
have all
now.
the help I need right
They
now.
have come to me at the right time in the right way. And
That's
they are
right.
helping me achieve the right results right now.
Yes.
Bring your fingers together as fast as you can. Drop. Whew. Okay, so right now you have an experience called like we might have an experience like, well, there's not enough money right now to pay for it, which I believe there is. You know, or you may have. There's enough. We might have something called not enough money, not enough time, wrong place, or whatever. Now, whatever limiting idea you have about your success, just let your right hand naturally go up and find whatever that limitation is, and we don't even have to identify it. Now we're going to let your left hand find the perfect solution. Whatever I need, there's whatever I need, there's always a perfect solution right here, right now. Bring your fingers together and drop.
I
That
just love
ends.
it. Love
That
this.
just saves so much time. Now try to find any reason that you can't be successful. I'm like do, right? Very quick.
No, I could not find any reason. I'll be honest, I just cannot find any reason to be, you know, without being a successful. I just find all the reasons how I am successful, I can be successful,
Mm-hmm.
even to a much next higher levels.
So that's the points of light exercise, and I'm going to invite you to do that with everything that you thought was a negative. But guess what? You could do that absolutely when you start with the positives, and you could go, is there anything that opposes that? There's no wrong way to do this. So now let's recalibrate on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate your clarity about your purpose or your personal mission? And if it is the same, notice that. If it's only up a point, notice that. But it helps to create measurement. And so now, if you did know your purpose or mission, how would you know, and what would you be doing differently? So just from my side of the experiment, I'm going to answer. But Mukesh, what would be your answer to that second question?
Well, what would you be doing differently? I know now, like it's like in the past when I went into a kind of negative zone, I let myself or allowed myself to stay in that negative zone. And the sad part is when you let yourself allow yourself even for 10 minutes in that negative zone, it's
Mm-hmm.
like sorry, it's like a bottom, like spiral, like it just speeds up to take you to deeper, deeper, deeper. But now with this understanding, like because even if I, let's say I fail in whatever I'm doing in my normal day-to-day entrepreneurship life, I will look
Mm-hmm.
at, okay, what is the feedback from this? Okay, now what kind of lesson learned from this? And and right away the using my, in this case, right hand and left hand,
Yeah.
I'll be putting my left hand out let me show it to you guys. I don't know if you can see. Hold on. I am just going to show it to everybody. Like, so it's like, left hand out, like way out. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
guys, God, provide me I'm receiving the solution now from that light all the way above.
Yeah. Well, come back to quantum mechanics, right? And in quantum mechanics, what they would say is like, hey, if there were another particle, oh wait, there's a particle, right? What needs to happen for this move from point A to point B, and the time that they almost form the thought, it would disappear out of point A and appear at point B. Right? So there's nothing receiving, it's accepting that it's there, that the moment you have the thought, it's there. Breathe into that. And there's nothing separating you except for an idea.
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful?
I'm feeling so refreshed, and so my mind is like, how should I say? It's like as if sometimes, there's a cool breeze blowing, and I
Mm-hmm.
just feel my whole brain is like fresh right now. My whole head is fresh. And I believe that from my left finger as I raise, that become an antenna, and
Mm-hmm.
bringing that like as is my top of the finger just reach to that, the light zone, and it's bringing and to me that freshness, that lightness, and
Yeah.
that energy inside me. Yes.
Absolutely. And, for me personally, I did it right along with you guys as I'm walking you through it. It was like, hey, the clue is this, the energy I felt. My big motivation is not money. And so if I'm worried about money, then I know I'm out of alignment with my purpose. When I realign back to the purpose and the things that bring me the most enjoyment, like when I said, my most profitable year, when I think about the good that came from that, I got super excited and became this bigger open potential of just good starting to unfold in people's lives, and to think that some class that I offered had something to do with that is thrilling to me, and the energy arose in that for me, and that's how I know I'm on the right mission. And then I started getting clues from that thought. But then when I thought back on the We Welcome business, which was the name of the gift basket business, I was trying to be really clever. It was the 80s. Gifts, salutations, and greetings, I think is what we called it. Yeah, We Welcome. And but what did I love about it, and what was the reason for doing it? Then I could align that good. I could take that good, all of that learning that freed that up, right? So that's why I'm telling you the story about my client who said, here's all this stuff I blamed and separated myself from, and it's counterproductive every time. But then saying, I did it with a purpose for a greater good, and realigning back to that, and then acknowledging everything she did to prepare her for this great challenge, that opened up a new potential for more positive results in her life. And that's what we want for you. Well, I trust that you've found this beneficial. Let me click on here. It's not moving. 1 second. There we go. And so we have our exercises now that we have the points of light. I did an exercise in the audit. At the end of that is a very kind of detailed process, so that also serves as your meditation. And then we have a recommended reading, and then of course you can always get these replays and additional things that we're adding at the icpotentials.com, and you go to that login, and your login name's your private address, and then the Facebook group. Well, Mukesh, do you have anything to add before we head out?
Yes. I'm so grateful to, this whole energy, because I believe this is our group energy, the group which join with us, and the
Mm-hmm.
groups which are going to join with us is their energy. We are pulling from the future and bringing to the present,
Right.
because today's, like, as you just mentioned, that the focus is not money, and anybody who is listening to these calls must be by now must have
Oh,
get understanding that how much over delivery we are doing.
yeah.
And we are so grateful to all of these energies, and today, believe it, like, I'm just feeling like a fresh, like it's like I felt so different today. And I just I trust that most of you are also going to be feeling this way, who are already listening to this now, or who are going to listen to in the near future. And I'm just grateful to all of you, Catherine, to you, and to all of the people who are going to listen, or who are listening and watching this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukesh. Thank you so much for being part of the group. We witness your greatness. Until next time, this is Catherine Perry Mukesh signing off. Bye-bye.
Bye now.